Hello, today we're going to learn about the atom. Everything is made up of atoms. So your favorite foods are made up of atoms, and the air you breathe is made up of atoms. You are made up of atoms. Atoms are the smallest unit of matter. They're so tiny, you cannot see them with the naked eye. They also combine to make things like molecules and compounds, which make up everything that you can see and that you can touch. There are lots of atoms. There are so many atoms, you cannot even count them. An atom is made of 3 parts: protons, neutrons, and electrons. And notice how electrons is really pointed out in this slide. Electrons are so important in chemistry. Electrons are on the outside of the atom. So they're going to be the outermost part of our atom, which means that they're going to be really important because they can interact with other atoms. Electrons have a negative charge. The nucleus is the center of the atom. It's in the middle. The electrons orbit around the nucleus. Most of the mass of an atom is in the nucleus. The parts of the nucleus are going to contribute mass to an atom. The electrons are so small, they really don't account for any mass of your atom. The protons and neutrons, those other 2 parts of the atom, are going to be in the nucleus. So protons and neutrons are in the middle and they contribute to the mass, or basically how much an atom weighs. The neutrons have no charge, so they're not positive and they're not negative. They don't have any charge, and we call that being neutral. Protons have a positive charge. So when you think of protons, it starts with a P, and so does positive. That's a really good way to remember. The number of protons is really important. Why, you might ask? Well, the number of protons will tell us which element on the periodic table we are referring to. So, for example, carbon always has 6 protons. If something has 6 protons, it has to be carbon. The electrons and protons pull together. You can think about them as like a magnet. So magnets, you have a positive end and a negative end, just like you do with protons, which are positive, and electrons, which are negative. They pull towards each other. In fact, the pull is what we call an electromagnetic force. So just like I said before, you're going to think of them as magnets. So just like the positive end of a magnet comes together with the negative end of a magnet, and they pull each other together. When the same atoms stick together or bond, it is called an element. One example of this would be oxygen. So when 2 oxygen atoms are stuck together and they bond together, it's called the element oxygen. We can also think about this in terms of metals. So you might be familiar with aluminum. It's what makes up the packaging basically for soda. So if you've ever had a soda in an aluminum can, all of those aluminum atoms are sticking together to make that metal. And that is called an element. Another example would be gold. Gold atoms stuck together make a gold bar. And gold bars are very valuable.